It's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across the USA, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley. He has a morning off. I'm Gary McNamara. I'm here. Yeah, just wild, some of the photos from Thailand, especially that one skyscraper. They got hit with a 7.7 magnitude earthquake, and there's this video of a building, and a pretty tall building, too, shaking back and forth, and you're like, what is it? I first thought it was like rock or brick or something coming down, and I went, wait a minute, no, that's water. Like, oh, you can see the ledge. There's like a pool. You can't see the pool, but obviously there's a swimming pool up on, I don't know, maybe the 40th floor of this building, and the building's shaking back and forth so much that the water's coming out of the pool and dropping down onto the street. So we'll keep you updated on that earthquake here. And we'll get to, in just a second, more of the DOGE interview, get our last audio clips in this hour of it. It's just pure greatness. It really, really is. Other news, here's the headline. The Democrats' profanity campaign is stupid by design. Media is starting to pay attention to it. Politico did a story and identified the number of growing Democrat lawmakers that are now cursing. That, you know, this may be part of the talking points. The talking points are throwing a couple of F-bombs, S-words, whatever. This was a National Review, this story. The Democrats' profanity campaign is stupid by design. If these crass displays could once be written off as earthy expressions of candor, that's no longer the case. Donald Trump's opponents seem to have embraced profanity as part of a strategic effort to rehabilitate their party's tarnished brands. The Democrat Party's new It Girl, Texas Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, provided the lead in a political story this month, highlighting the Democratic Party's campaign of strategic F-bombing. Somebody slap me and wake me the F up because I'm ready to get on with it, she told reporters in a failed attempt to produce a compelling response to Trump's address to a joint session of Congress. She summoned a similar level of sophistication when she was asked to respond to Elon Musk's governmental activities. F off, she said. Politico identified the growing number of Democratic lawmakers who have all of a sudden shed the shame that would have once accompanied their use of obscene language. Senators Gallego, Fetterman, and Schatz have accused the Trump-era GOP of presiding over a lot of SH conditions that are only getting SH-er. Oregon Democrat Maxine Dexter tried to warn us that she doesn't swear in public very well. Before she proved her point, we have to F Trump, she determined. In calling for Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth's resignation because of this Signal Gate, you had Senator Tammy Duckworth concluded that the secretary isn't just bad, he's a effing liar. It's all a rather transparent strategy aimed at conveying a rough-hewn authenticity. Love it. This sort of thing cheapens a discourse because it is itself cheap, and it acclimates the country to a low, sordid level of speech that dispenses with just anger and emotion and rage. More importantly, the liberal use of profanity makes its user sound as though they are incapable of anything more intellectual. There was a time in living memory when politicians tried to avoid giving their opponents evidence that they're as dumb as their critics claim. So there you go. But just, I'm enjoying it. It's entertaining. You look through it and you say, okay, the reason they're doing that is because they can't answer the question. That's how I look at it. They can't articulate a position, so they curse. And we know what happened. We all know what happened. They couldn't go beyond Hitler. They couldn't find anyone. They thought Elon Musk was worse than Hitler. And they thought they could compare Republicans to Elon Musk, but that didn't work. Okay, what's worse than Hitler? Okay, let's try Elon Musk. The public isn't buying it. Well, what do? We're frustrated. We've got to compare them to some of the most evil entities or life forces ever in the universe. And the Borg and the Klingons really don't exist, so we can't use them. So what do? If calling our opponents the most evil life force entities ever in the history of the world isn't working, what do? We got to do something. All right, let's workshop this. Guys, any ideas? Let's curse 24/7. Let's use naughty words 24/7. That'll get us to where we want. I hope they continue to do it as long as there's no children around. We don't want, I can't believe I'm going to say this, we don't want Democrats to be a bad influence on our children. Oh, my gosh. Just greatness. But I love that. The Democrats' profanity campaign is stupid by design. And it is by design. You know, I would like to see if they did hold a meeting on it and actually workshop that. That would have been interesting. All right. Who's for cursing? All right. Everybody's hands are up. All right. Well, look, all of us can't curse. Let's get a select few. Do they sit back and say, okay, what words are we going to use? Well, definitely the F word. But we can only use the F word. It's very important that we use the F word only if we're out in public, you know, at a speech where there's people behind us that will cheer. Or if there's a Fox News reporter, then we can use the F word with them. But otherwise, let's use the ASH word. All right? Oh, what about MF? Okay, we don't know. We'll get back to you on that next week. If the F word and the SH word doesn't work, well, then we'll have to amp it up. Now, what if they say Trump is effing Hitler? You take Hitler and you put a curse word in front of Hitler. You know, the funny thing is you're saying, Gary, don't be ridiculous, but I bet you they've had this kind of discussion. That's the real weird thing. Not that I'm bringing it up and being ridiculous, but the fact that me being ridiculous may be closer to the truth than we think. All right, let's get back to audio. Bret Baier did a pretty long interview yesterday, and we've been breaking it up. And he did it with Elon Musk and the DOGE team. And it's just great. In fact, I will post it here in the next couple of minutes at Gary Red Eye 1. I will post it so you can watch it. It's like 30 minutes long, and that's why we've broken it up throughout the entire show to play clips of it. But it's really, really, really good. It really is. You look at it and you go, okay, I'm not hearing the normal political rhetoric. And you're not, because they're not really politicians. They're problem solvers. And that's how they come across. I can't wait to see Dad. I got to play this for Dad and go, Dad, okay, how is this presented? Is this presented politically or what my father always told me about Trump? He said, Trump just needs to promote, do the job. I'm here to do the job. I'm here to do the job, because that's what he is. He's been in construction. All he's ever done his entire life is do the job. So I know my father will like the way that this was presented. And it was presented in just the way that they are, which was really, you want authentic. You talk about if cursing, if Democrats are trying to find, well, if we curse, well, we're trying to get the blue-collar person back. And the blue-collar person is stupid and dumb and only relate to people that curse. If you don't curse, the blue-collar, the regular Joe and Jane six-pack. I had to throw the six-pack in there. They just can't relate. They only relate to stupid and cursing kind of speeches. So let's throw in a lot of F-bombs, and then that'll get the blue-collar workers away from Trump and back to us. I bet you that's part of the strategy. I bet you they really remember they put everybody in groups and say, okay, this is the way those people are. All right, but let's get back to more of the interview. This was Brett Baer with the DOGE team yesterday.
Tyler Hassan, Interior Department. You're a former oil company CEO. You're reviewing contracts before they're approved for funding. What are you finding?
Well, Elon and Steve kind of stole my thunder a little bit, but I actually found that customer service survey contract. I actually have an example of one right here. I could have done this in high school. And
Is that right?
I found it.
Is that bad?
I found it on the weekends because under the Biden administration, there was no departmental oversight within the Department of Interior whatsoever. None. We are now reviewing every single contract, every single grant, and when things come to my attention that don't make sense, I'm bringing them to Secretary Burgum, and he's been fantastic. He's a businessman. He's very supportive of DOGE. It's been wonderful to work with him.
Is the battle between government of decades of buildup and business, which you guys are, is that like a train hitting each other? I mean, it seems like it's pretty disruptive.
Well, this is a revolution, and I think it might be the biggest revolution in government since the original revolution. But at the end of the day, America is going to be in much better shape. America will be solvent. The critical programs that people depend upon will work, and it's going to be a fantastic future. But are we going to get a lot of complaints along the way? Absolutely. You know, one of the things I learned at PayPal was who complains the loudest and with the most amount of fake righteous indignation? The fraudsters. It's a tell. There's some of these NGOs that are crazy, like the $2 billion to Stacey Abrams' NGO that basically didn't exist and suddenly gets $2 billion awarded from the federal government. She says, why? And there are many such cases like that.
I think that most people, common sense-wise, would say the fraud's got to end.
Yeah.
They're concerned about the 94-year-old mother who skips a check or somehow doesn't get what she's supposed to get.
Right. And what we're trying to say is actually that the 94-year-old grandmother is actually, as a result of DOGE's work, going to get her check. She's not going to be robbed by fraudsters like she's getting robbed today. And the solvency of the federal government will ensure that she continues to receive those Social Security checks, that Medicare continues to work, without which we're all doomed. The reason we're doing this is because if we don't do it, America's going to go insolvent. We're going to go bankrupt. And nobody's going to get anything.
Why are you guys all doing it? I mean, you can pipe up, but you don't have to be here, right? I mean, you don't have to be doing this.
I have blessed with four beautiful children, my wife and I. But we have a real fiscal crisis, and this is not sustainable. And what's worse, back to my children and everyone else's children, is we are burdening them with that debt, and it's only going to grow.
Steve, there's not a lot of hierarchy here. You guys are kind of all approaching it in different, silos, but with the same kind of goal, right? I mean, this is really Silicon Valley, private sector colliding with government.
Yeah, exactly, and we're headed in a bad path, but then the chance of success exists. And just the one that just is in my head right now, which is a fairly mundane one, but I think is very illustrative, is credit cards. There are in the federal government around 4.6 million credit cards for around 2.3 to 2.4 million employees. This doesn't make sense.
Right.
And so one of the things all of the teams have worked on is we've worked with the agencies and said, do you need all of these credit cards? Are they being used? Can you tell us physically where they are?
I hope they're getting frequent flyers.
Actually, on a different note, the rewards program the federal government has is actually not very good. That's a whole other...
It's a negotiation.
Sure, yeah, exactly. But so far, the teams have worked together, and they've reduced it from 4.6 million to 4.3 million. So
we're taking it easy. But clearly there should not be, more. There should not be more credit cards than there are people. Yeah.
Joe, middle.
We'll have more coming up on this following the bottom of the hour and our audio cut of the week. Anybody who's listened to the show yesterday and today, especially the first hour, knows what the audio cut of the week is. Why? Because it's the most entertaining with a great message. 866-90-RED-EYE.
This morning's USDA Farm Report is brought to you by Howes Products. Tested, trusted, guaranteed since 1920.
Might you have some sort of money personality? Utah State University Extension financial expert Amanda Christensen says yes. In fact, much of her career includes
helping people see how money is very much influenced by the messages and the experiences that we've had. Those messages come from various sources, certainly our families and other significant people in our circle, but also our outer circles. Celebrities, for example, the media, our culture, and certainly religious and spiritual teachings influence money personalities.
And while there are 6 distinct money personalities, according to Christensen,
there's no perfect money personality. Typically with this topic, what we're trying to teach people is that you need to discover your own. What is your money personality? And then what can we do to curb the weaknesses and lean into the strengths?
the money personalities center on the areas of security, planning, spontaneity, status, giving, and a carefree approach. I'm Rod Bain reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C.
This report brought to you by Cenex Fuels and Lubes.
We'll be right back with more Red Eye Radio with Eric Harley and Gary McNamara.
It's Red Eye Radio. I'm Gary McNamara, along with Eric Harley, who is not here today, but he returns for Sunday night, Monday morning show. So that's good. We'll have some fun next week, I'm sure. Well, 2 days ago, there was a hearing. And there was a hearing in the House with the presidents of NPR and PBS about their taxpayer funding. And they got into the bias. Republicans did about the bias, about the political activism, about the programming, and Democrats attempted to defend it and say the money, the taxpayer dollars that are spent on it are all good. And one of the examples that they gave, and it was Representative Ro Khanna, was Mr. Rogers. And so Media Research Center saw this and said, okay, let's get to this here. And let's see if they would actually want to spend taxpayer dollars on this Mr. Rogers segment. But here is the back and forth, and then the Mr. Rogers segment.
Really don't know?
No, I really don't. I'm on the oath.
All the history. It's a successor to Mr. Rogers.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Rogers, I know.
Okay. Are you familiar with his 1969 testimony?
I am.
He said, I want to quote, because it's one of my favorites. I studied this actually going to school. It's some of the most effective testimony in Congress. He said, I give an expression of care every day to each child to help him realize that he is unique. I end the program by saying, you've made this day a special day by just being you. There's no person in the whole world like you, and I like you just the way you are.
Boys are boys from the beginning. If you were born a boy, you stay a boy. Girls are girls right from the start. If you were born a girl, you stay a girl and grow up to be a lady. Everybody's fancy, everybody's fine. Your body's fancy, and so is mine. Only girls can be the mommies. Only boys can be the daddies. Yes, sir. Everybody's fancy, everybody's fine. Your body's fancy, and so is mine.
listening to Red Eye Radio from the Uniden America Studios.
And we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Eric, back Sunday night, Monday morning, and we can't wait for that. That will be great. All right, a couple of things here. First, we got to play Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders and Tim Walz. They held their oligarchy rally in Texas. This was near Austin yesterday. And so what did they talk about? All right, let's see what they talk about. Here we go. Let's go.
That our strength is our diversity. We've been talking about this for years as a country of immigrants, and we let them define the issue on immigration. We let them define the issue on DEI, and we let them define what woke is. We got ourselves in this mess because we weren't bold enough to stand up and say, you damn right we're proud of these policies. We're going to put them in, and we're going to execute them.
Wow. I'm sorry. It's just... I can't wait to see some of the sane Democrats, because there's a couple of them out there. I can't wait to see like somebody like Mark Penn, who was the Clinton's pollster. I can't wait to what he says about that. Or some of the other commentators now that have said, golly, are they off? They're just completely clueless. I cannot wait to see, what they have to say, because what Walz is saying and Beto is saying is we just didn't scream it loud enough. And Eric and I have said that. If you listen to the show, we've said that all the time. It's like, this is nuts. This is absolutely nuts. They really think that the problem is they haven't talked about the issues enough. That we need to get out there and promote the racism of DEI. We need to promote the racism of identity politics. We need to promote more the misogyny of the radical transgender movement. We just didn't fight hard enough. Oh, man, keep going in that direction. Please keep going in that direction. Please, 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 please. I found this. I was going to do it earlier in the week, but it does relate because we just played the Mr. Rogers audio cut again from Media Research Center, which looked at what was going on the other day at the hearing that the House held on funding taxpayer money for PBS and NPR. And Representative Ro Khanna was talking about the fact of, the taxpayer money goes to Mr. Rogers. Mr. Rogers, and look what Mr. Rogers did, and Mr. Rogers said this, and Mr. Rogers. So Media Research Center said, okay, let's play Mr. Rogers and see if any liberal will defend and want taxpayer money to go to what Mr. Rogers was saying. Of course, he was saying, girls are girls, boys are boys, girls will always be girls, boys will always be boys, only girls can have babies, and only men can be fathers. And it's so dang funny. And we had a ton of reaction to it. And I posted it on my X page at Gary Red Eye, Gary Red Eye 1. And just a tremendous amount of comments on it. So thank you so much. But I was thinking that would be hate speech. Mr. Rogers is involved in hate speech. If Mr. Rogers, if he was alive, if he crossed the border, they'd bring back the death penalty in Canada. Forget about life in prison, death penalty. But on the radical transgender movement, I just happened to see something from author J.K. Rowling, who, again, has been one of the leaders in this. She took the first arrows on this. She really was the first prominent woman worldwide. And when you're the first person to come out, and we were always looking for, when we were talking about this a decade ago, we said The women have to come out, and she took the most arrows. She was really the first major celebrity to come out and say this is ridiculous. But she wrote this week. If an adult feels that they can only exist comfortably and authentically in this world by dressing in the opposite sex clothes, having surgeries and taking hormones, or in adopting one of the many gender labels, I wish them safety, happiness, and health, as long as they are not harming anyone else. You, however, seem to think that for a trans-identified man to be comfortable and authentic, everyone in the vicinity must abandon their freedom of speech and belief to accommodate his identity. And this is the best part right here. Women are not validation props, comfort blankets, or support animals. We aren't a rest home for men who don't like being men. If a person's happiness and self-esteem resides entirely on whether or not they can compel everyone around them to lie, whether out of fear or pity, I would respectively suggest they are unlikely to have a very comfortable life and are as far, this is the important part, and are about as far from being authentic as anyone can humanly possibly be. J.K. Rowling. That's just pure greatness. All right. Let's end with this last part of the interview that Bret Baier did with the DOGE team yesterday. And I'm going to post this here in just a couple of seconds. Right after we're done playing it, I'm going to post it on my X page at Gary Red Eye 1. It's worth, if you haven't seen the whole thing, it's about 30 minutes long, but it will keep you riveted because it's great because they go through point by point what they're doing. And I don't know. I've not heard this last part, but there isn't anything in the first 24 minutes and 22 seconds that I've disagreed with. And I believe this is an 80-20 issue when you explain it the way that Elon Musk and his team of engineers, software analysts, and CEOs explained it. You can't disagree with it. You can't. They need to do more of these, and this needs to go viral big time. Here's more of it.
We are burdening them with that debt. And it's only going to grow.
Steve, there's not a lot of hierarchy here. You guys are kind of all approaching it in different, silos, but with the same kind of goal, right? I mean, this is really Silicon Valley, private sector colliding with government.
Yeah, exactly. And we're headed in a bad path, but then the chance of success exists. And just the one that just is in my head right now, which is a fairly mundane one, but I think is very illustrative, is credit cards. There are in the federal government around 4.6 million credit cards for around 2.3 to 2.4 million employees. This doesn't make sense.
Right.
And so one of the things all of the teams have worked on is we've worked with the agencies and said, do you need all of these credit cards? Are they being used? Can you tell us physically where they are?
I hope they're getting frequent flyers.
Actually, on a different note, the rewards program the federal government has is actually not very good. That's a whole other...
It's a negotiation.
Sure, yeah, exactly. But so far, the teams have worked together, and they've reduced it from 4.6 million to 4.3 million. So we're
taking it easy. But clearly there should not be, more. There should not be more credit cards than there are people.
Joe, middle-level employees, are they seeing a benefit to being empowered by taking out bureaucracy? I mean,
absolutely. I mean, I think what you're seeing is taking the best of Silicon Valley and the business world and bringing it into the government. We're bringing the best practices and the best methodologies, and people are inspired. Right, especially on the retirement process, which I can speak to. They've been trying to modernize and get off of paper since early 2000s, very unsuccessfully. Every attempt has gone over budget and been canceled because it hasn't been successful. And so, I showed up and I feel like I'm here because it's an interesting problem. We can use design to solve it and good engineering. and really create a better experience for everybody.
We're talking about elementary financial controls that are necessary for any company to function. So, like, if the federal government, if a commercial company operated the way the federal government does, then it would be immediately go bankrupt. It would be delisted. The officers would be arrested. The changes we're putting in place will enable the federal government to pass an audit. It will enable taxpayers to know where the money is going and know that their hard-earned tax dollars are being spent well.
And Democrats are against that. Democrats are against it. Have you heard them this week? They're destroying Social Security. They're destroying Medicaid. They're destroying Medicare. That's the purpose of DOGE, is what they say. When I post this, you can watch the entire thing and see if that is any type of consideration that any of these people on the DOGE team are talking about. All right, let's finish with this here.
Now to people under the age of 11.
Well, actually, to add to it, it's 300 million under the age of 11 and over 300 million to over the age of 120.
Definitely.
Small business loans.
Correct.
Yes. The oldest American is 114. So it's safe to say if their age is 115 or above, they're fake. Or they should be in the Guinness Book of World Records. And we should not be giving out loans to babies. So the youngest recipient of a Small Business Administration loan is a 9-month-old, which is a very, very precocious baby we're talking about here. So obviously it was just fraudulent. And they do terrible things. They actually will see that a kid's been born. They will steal that kid's Social Security number and then take out a loan and leave that kid with a bad credit rating. There was literally a baby. The terrible things are being done, is what we're saying.
And how
we're stopping these terrible things.
And you can stop it? I mean,
we are stopping it.
The reason this is
Absolutely.
happening is because the two systems are not talking to each other.
Yes.
Right? And so you don't know at the Small Business Administration that you're giving a loan to a 9-month-old, which happened in one case, because you're not cross-referencing that with the Social Security Administration data that has birth dates. So that very, very simple fix eliminates tremendous fraud. And that there are multiple systems across the government where the systems are not speaking with one another. And if you just solve that simple problem, you would solve a huge amount of fraud.
Are you surprised?
So one of the ways that, like one of the key tricks that the fraudsters pull is that they will use the fact that someone is marked as live, and as sort of just that Social Security number is marked as live in Social Security, and then get disability and unemployment insurance for a dead person. Because the databases don't talk to each other, all they got was from Social Security is like, is this person alive? Yes, they're not alive. It's falsely marked. Person is falsely marked as alive in Social Security. But they didn't. But that person, a fraudster can now get unemployment and disability from a dead person.
There you go. And it's important, I think, that this go viral, because the Democrats are out there every day saying that all they're trying to do is destroy the government and destroy the United States of America and destroy Social Security and destroy Medicare and destroy Medicaid, and they're doing the exact opposite. They got the guts to. They're all volunteers. They have the guts to go in there and do this and make America solvent and make it so we stop putting what we want today on future generations, which is so immoral. And the Democrats don't want any of it whatsoever. They want the fraudulent and wasteful system to continue. 866-90 Red Eye.
Coming up, more with Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. It's Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. We are Red Eye Radio. I'm Gary McNamara. He's Eric Harley. He returns on Sunday night, Monday morning. Man, we've got a heck of a show next week. A number of shows next week. Wow. Will the automobile tariffs go into effect? How will other countries reciprocate? Where are we going now? So that's going to be very, very interesting to see. I did post, by the way, on my X page, the DOGE interview. Brett Barrett did a 30-minute interview with the DOGE team. I just checked. I was going through the different news media, and Fox News has it as the number one story, as they should. This thing needs to go viral people need to see it because the Democrats are out there saying they're just cutting, they're not paying attention to anything, they're just going in with a hatchet and just taking out everything. And, of course, that's not the truth at all. And the other lie that Democrats are telling is they're trying to take away Social Security, Medicaid, and Medicare. And as they all explained, and these aren't politicians, these are people that volunteered business people who say we want to take business practices, we want to update what goes on in government so there's not unnecessary redundancy, so different departments can communicate, have the ability to communicate by computer effectively with each other so there's not massive fraud. That was so much of the 30 minutes of what they talked about, and Democrats don't want to do that. They only want to lie about what DOGE is attempting to do.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One.